India share a deep ancient connection dating back to approximately 130 million years when both were part of the Gondwanaland landmass before the continents began to drift apart. In more recent history, their connections was rekindled through the colonization of both countries by the British. It was during this colonial period that trade between the two nations began to flourish. The historical connection of trade between India and Australia is marked by periods of significant growth and strategic partnership. As two major economies in the Indo-Pacific region, their trade relations have evolved over the centuries, influenced by geopolitical, economical, and cultural factors. In this episode of Logistically Speaking, I will delve into the historical context, current status, and future potential of trade between these two nations. I am glad to have Mr. Richard from Kalgin Global as a guest in this episode to share his expertise on this trade relationship. The trade relationship between India and Australia dates back to the early 19th century when the British Empire facilitated exchanges between its colonies. Initially, trade was limited to basic commodities like wool, cotton, and jute. However, as both nations gained independence almost in the same period, their trade relations began to diversify. In the post-independence era, particularly from 1950s to the 1970s, the trade between India and Australia remained relatively modest, constrained by India's protectionist policies and Australia's focus on its traditional trading partners. The late 20th century marked a turning point with economic liberalization in India during the 1990s, opening new avenues for the trade. Australia recognized India's market potential and began to invest more significantly in fostering economic ties. In recent years, trade between India and Australia has seen substantial growth. As of 2023, the bilateral trade volume stands at approximately 30 billion Australian dollars, a significant increase from previous decades.
India is Australia's sixth largest trading partner. I think off the back of the December 2022 free trade agreement that was established, which is now being renewed to have more depth. 90% of Australian imports are now from India are now duty-free. So I think off the back of geopolitical games that are being played at the moment, Australia is looking for a reliable trading partner over and above China that's a bit more reliable, and I think India provides a huge advantage in that respect.
The growth in trade between the nations has been driven by several key factors. The signing of the Australia-India Comprehensive Economic Cooperation Agreement with CECA has been instrumental in reducing tariffs and facilitating smoother trade flows. This agreement has paved the way for more robust economic engagement. The trade portfolio between the two countries have diversified. Australia's exports to India primarily include coal, education-related travel, and agricultural products, while India exports refined petroleum, pharmaceutical, and information technology services to Australia. For instance, Australian coal exports to India were valued at 14 billion Australian dollars in 2022, underscoring the importance of energy trade. Australian investments in India span various sectors including mining, infrastructure and education. Conversely, Indian companies have invested in Australia's technology, resources and hospitality sectors. Notable examples include Adani Group's investment in Carmichael coal mine and Infosys expansion in the Australian IT market.
So I think Australia manages to retain its competitive edge globally, primarily also because of the resources that it has, iron ore, gold, LNG. The world needs energy to power its growth, and Australia provides that in abundance.
The Indian diaspora in Australia, numbering over 700,000, plays a crucial role in strengthening bilateral relationships. Educational exchanges and tourism further enhance these ties, with India being one of the largest sources of international students in Australia. Australia's ports are integral to its trade network, supporting the country's economic growth and international trade relations. The ports of Melbourne, Sydney, Brisbane, Port of Newcastle are particularly significant in facilitating trade with India. These ports handle a wide range of commodities from consumer goods and agricultural products to minerals and energy resources. Their efficient operations and strategic location enhance Australia's capacity to engage in robust trade activities with India, ensuring the smooth flow of goods and contributing to the economic prosperity of both the nations. As the trade relationship between India and Australia continues to evolve, these ports will remain vital in supporting and expanding bilateral trade. The future of trade and relations between India and Australia looks promising, driven by strategic partnership, mutual economic interest, and geopolitical considerations. Several trends and opportunities stand out. Number 1. Diversification and innovation. Both countries are keen to diversify their trade portfolios. Renewable energy, critical minerals, and technology are emerging sectors with high growth potential. Australia's lithium exports, vital for India's electric vehicle ambitions, are expected to increase significantly. Number 2. Supply chain resilience. The COVID-19 pandemic highlighted the needs for resilient and reliable supply chains. Australia and India are collaborating to enhance supply chain security, particularly in critical sectors like healthcare and technology. This collaboration is expected to reduce dependency on other regions and bolster bilateral trade.
So Australia is responding in many ways and bouncing back post-pandemic. I think the Reserve Bank has put in measures to try and curb inflation through interest rate rises. That now seems to have stabilised. The government's investing heavily in small to medium enterprises, which is trying to promote innovation within the small to medium business sector in the country, to take advantage of global opportunities in that space. Also, a lot of investment in education to upskill the workforce.
Number 3. Geopolitical dynamics. The Indo-Pacific region's geopolitical landscape is evolving, with both India and Australia playing pivotal roles. Their strategic partnerships, underscored by initiatives like Quadrilateral Security Dialogue or Quad, is likely to drive deeper economic integration and cooperation in defense and security, further boosting trade. Number 4. Tourism growth. The wider cooperation and improvements in connectivity with the direct flights connections have boosted tourism between the nations. Indians are attracted to Australia's natural beauty, including the Great Barrier Reef, pristine beaches, and the great drives like the Great Ocean Road. Similarly, Australians are attracted to Indian historical sites and increasingly popular spiritual and wellness tourism. Number 5. Cultural connection. Both nations share common experience in governance, education, and legal systems due to colonization by the same power. This also resulted in skilled migration from India to Australia, contributing to the multicultural fabric of Australian society. Indian cultural exports to Australia include their cuisine, which is becoming popular, along with the festivities like Diwali, Holi, and Indian dance forms. Number 6. Sustainability and green growth. Sustainability is becoming a key focus in trade relations. Australia and India are investing in renewable energy projects and green technologies. The collaboration on hydrogen energy, for instance, promises to be a game changer in the energy sector, fostering long-term economic and environmental benefits. The trade relationship between India and Australia has come a long way, evolving from modest beginning to a robust and dynamic partnership. With a strong foundation in place, the future holds immense potential for both growth and diversification. By leveraging their complementary strength and addressing global challenges together, India and Australia can build a resilient and prosperous trade relationship that benefits both nations and contributes to regional stability and development. From my perspective, it is evident that strategic planning, innovation and collaboration will be key drivers in this exciting journey of economic partnership. Along with the cultural connectivity and integration of the Indian population into Australian society, the relationship between the nations will become even closer in time to come. Well, we have come to the end of it. Thank you for watching till then. See you next week.